One more map to go, and it is none other than Nuke between Penta and Flipside.
Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Oh, baby.
Burner.
Woo! Here we go. Flipside have taken their time after that overpass loss. There's no doubt that that's going to be kind of another stain on their record. The scene, if you are unfamiliar, for Flipside is a rather grim one. Sitting now at 11 losses, 0 wins. I almost gave them 11 wins there. Nearly made an amateur error. But 0 to 11. Penta are just beneath them on the standings. Of course, Flipside holding that bottom spot, as you would expect with the goose egg. And I'm joined by Yanko and Henry to, in some way, shape or form, shed some light on what to expect on Nuke. That's our responsibility here, gentlemen. So, let's go. Let's do it.
What would you like to know? I got lots of stuff.
Well, the thing is, Henry kind of set the scene by saying that he expects some new stuff from Penta, seeing as how they play less officials, so they have more time to practice. Maybe they introduce Nuke as a pocket pick, which is pretty smart. We heard from Chad on the desk earlier that he always likes with Renegades to pick up the new map in the pool, because that will give them an advantage in the veto process and all that.
It's definitely a wise thing to do as an underdog team coming into these sort of matchups, having Nuke they're ready to go. Like we said, a lot of these top teams going to event to event to event, and they're not really prepared to actually have the practice, so they're playing a very default game. And I guess they wouldn't spend much time actually downloading Penta demos as well. But
no, it's true.
The problem I see with that is, like, from my own experience, is that as a weaker team and with weaker individuals, it's a struggle for you to get good even on the easier maps, right? On the map like maybe Cash or Mirage or Dust 2, you're struggling even to figure out those maps, and then a completely new map comes into the pool. Yes, not everyone is picking it up either. But, you know, it's also a big risk for you. You're probably going to take more time to figure it out, how to approach it. That's the problem with weaker teams. It takes them more to introduce a new map to their pool.
No, that is true. All of these points are true. Now, actually, you know what? We have a luxury here where we don't necessarily have to dive too in depth. The players are ready and raring to go.
All right then.
I'm sorry. I know that you are chomping
I had
at the
all
bit.
my notes ready.
No, I can see them. But if you could just so just quickly, just your closing thoughts. Just find the best point you can find.
Out of all of them, probably. Penta's going to win 2-0. I think that's probably going to be the overwhelming nose I've got here. So I'd say just because it's a bit of an unknown quantity, and I think Penta seem to be firing on all cylinders tonight. We'll see whether they can take 2-0. I think
safe bet, really, isn't it, for you?
Well, considering the Flipside haven't got a single win yet, I'll say that's probably good.
Just a team name for you.
Penta.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so once again, the desk is leaning towards Penta, and the reason for that, Flipside have been having a very flimsy and flaccid performance so far here in the Pro League. But let's head over to see people quite the opposite of that.
Always talking about yourself, Alex.
It is two delightful human beings. It's my pleasure to introduce Chad Birchall and Mitch Leslie.
It's crazy. It's almost like Alex has an alarm for that. So how does he know I'm not flaccid?
Yeah, machine fans be like... Exactly. Yeah. That's the whole point, as Markloff is going aggressive on the yard here with the USPS. He's got a lot of territory so far. He can see that nobody from the Penta squad is making their way to that outside part of the map.
So we'll get Chad to cast off the right screen soon, don't worry, guys. But it's electronic inside the ramp room. We're going to try and ramp things up here. Well, it's going to be there as well. Bit of a crossfire here. Oh my God. Okay then, now we're down to Crystal. You get to see this game has worn us down somewhat, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll do what we can.
Hold up. You think I should cast off the same screen that everybody else can see?
No. Well, if you're doing play-by-play, then yeah. Otherwise, no.
I love, I was on Markloff. I didn't even see what was on the main screen.
That's fine. You just say, oh, Markloff's over there, just, you know, chilling.
Doing his thing.
That's it. Just having a walkabout. But, you know, if you want to say, like, you know, you want to talk about what he had for breakfast and, you know, which foot he's put in front of the other, maybe on this screen would be the good one.
All right.
That's fine. We're going to get there. It's Flipside to win the pistol, guys. You saw it there. It was a bit of a massacre inside the ramp room. Wasn't really close. We won't say that. But UMP's here, been brought up, even a ping 90 for old mate Electronic. And that was Crystal again, firing a couple shots off. People got confused by us before, Chad. We have to make sure we call them flip-flops, otherwise we get into a bit weird territory here with some of our non-Aussie viewers.
Well, they don't want me to talk about my pink thongs.
No. Yeah, see, and they're like, why do you have two? Why do we call it a plural? Come on, guys, get with the program.
Just in case you make a mess.
You need a backup.
Exactly.
That's pretty standard.
I always pack a few pairs on the plane.
If you get too much sand in them, it's really uncomfortable.
I wish we were on Lau right now, because he's made a lot of ground here around towards ladder, and you have to play quite reserved on the CT side on the anti-ecos, because people will pick up the deagles and the scouts. Like we're seeing in that yard area is a very easy place to find free kills. If you turtle, oh, what's going on outside here?
Border finds Crystal, who gave himself away a lot because of all the shots he was taking. Almost, and the one is actually pot shots. He was hoping to find a little bit of damage with them, but didn't find a lot there, Chad. I'll be honest with you. Tarsing goes in, and it's going to be Waylander and Markloff here. I mean, you win the pistol on that CT side, you're off to a running start. There's no doubt about it, but UMP's in the hands of these last two Penta players. A good chance to derail Flipside here. Mike S up high, gets the shot. That's not ideal. Stefan actually found him, though, with the Deagle, getting pressured inside hut as well. Can't get a cheeky little flick around the corner. And an odd round, I'll be honest with you, mostly happened outside. Crystal got jumped on. And the rest, well, it's now carved in stone.
A big thing with this map is if you take outside territory like that and the CTs are playing, I like to call it a turtle setup, you know, you're in your little shell. You need to just make sure that people are aware of what's open. So this is something which the setups which, you know, Flipside would have dry run and talked about how to rotate. But right there, it was really weird. Flipside gave a lot of territory and then kind of just strolled back out into the yard and were like, well, hey, there's a couple of free kills. Unusual round to say the least.
Stefan got smashed there by the nade that came in, and Markloff, pretty easy for him to finish off the kill. I don't think he saw Lol up on high, but he's going to be happy with 2 and just to back away here. Penta, well, the grind begins for them. It's essentially going to be the case. They'll have a few gun rounds here and there, but again, it will be hard to fight back as Markloff and co. Well, this is a good way to build up economy, and they'll do it in fine form. Electronic finds one with the P90, and Lol going to take a long walk off a short plank there from the silo. And that's 3-0. Here's the buy. Let's see what Penta can put together.
This is important for me because if Penta set a similar precedent like they did before, you know, they were quite aggressive, quite fast with their executes, then that would be good. That's something that they can work off later. But with the limited utility they have, they'll probably go for outside control. They'll get those smokes up, go for that secret or ghetto, wherever you're from, kind of, you know, naming, and then play the rotations. No dildos on this map. Oh. However, I'm wrong again, and they're going into the lobby. So it looks like we'll probably see a top execute because everybody's heading into the lobby, setting up their smokes. This is going to be pretty fast.
Lol is just climbing up there a little bit, Tarson on the other side of the door. It's not quite busted open yet. He does see the impacts of the bullets there. He does know that there were a few shots placed in that direction by Flipside.
World is in hut with an ult. What a madman.
And a dead man at that. Now we're going to push forward. Tarson low. Crystal found Waylander with a Molotov there as well. And we're going to have a look at Crystal for a moment as he is up on the silo, but most of the action happens on the inside. Electronic now in a 1v2 with the P90 in hand. That's all he's really got to work with here. The kit may serve to be useful later on, but oh, this could be bad timing for Mike. Yes, no, he didn't see him. Oh, that's pretty heartbreaking. And Penta break back on the first gun round here. Get themselves that important T-side round. And that positioning from World Edit going to be causing a few people to scratch some heads, I think, Chad.
They went against the, you know, the normal meta of going for outside play early. They went straight for a top hit, waited out those Molotovs, and then just attacked and traded out proficiently. But what the hell was World Edit doing? That's not the place you want to have an AWP, you know? You want to be outside, you want to be taking those long-range duels, or at ramps. They're 2 good places for an AWP, not in hut. That's questionable.
He's got a couple of roos loose in the top paddock, perhaps, mate. Not sure.
Boy.
Anyway, smoke now in towards the hut. It's going to cut that lobby approach off for the moment. And Blade going to head bottom side here as well. Penta again, not really fancying too much outside control. You can see them all just laid up inside the doorway, waiting for Tarson to give them an entry. And this time Waylander would like to be ready for it.
I'm liking this. You know, they're going to go for a top execute again. They're not going for too much map territory because there's not a lot that can really be gained on Nuke. And it looks like they're just going to wait out utility once again and then execute onto that top site. Molotovs are pretty much all gone. Markloff's the only one that has one left, and he is leaning towards outsiders. He is getting aggressive, but Waylander on the hut, he can put out any Molotovs that we saw Anders Theory craft that land on that hut. Here it comes. He's put it out, and now his position is very vital.
Well, let's see what he can do from this one there as well. Only a little bit of damage and not quite enough there. He's going to get taken down by Stefan. A World Edit can't even get a decent perch from up on high. He finds Lol to start things off, but Blade sees an interloper try and peek his head in towards the vents and quickly dispatches of him. Mike S spoiled for choice, not in the good way though, as there are multiple angles at which he can be pushed right now. Blade just opts to go for the little smoke. Electronic comes straight through, and now Penta should be cleaned up here. It's going to be Stefan with 18 solitary points of health, and now he's on his back.
If you don't go for that yard control or presence and, you know, they have somebody who's playing aggressive like Markloff was, or even an AWPer just overseeing that outside area, you're not going to force any rotations. At that point, you can keep one guy solo ramps. As soon as he gets in a fight, he drops under, and 3 people pretty much embedded in that top site for an execute like we just saw. Once you do the outside play and you say, and the AWPer says, oh, say, look, they can get into mini or they can get down secret, that's when you force the CTs to rotate around the map. And when you do that, then you can find openings and kind of stroll into top site because you can spread the CT defense really thin. If you're doing what you're doing there, you're kind of hoping on either good timings or a perfect execute where everybody's going to be blind. They're able to get the site, but they didn't trade out very effectively.
So perhaps that's the trick then. bit more outside control. These nades have been hurting him. We saw Markelov actually. He's mostly been tasked with dealing with anyone peeking past that red container, and he does find Stefan to open up the account for Flipside in this round. Well, did it also with a decent perch. But not able to get the shot there as well as that player just knocks around the corner. Lutarsen eventually shows a little bit too much of himself, bit too much skin, and he will fall. Markelov there as well to chime in, and now it's just Lol and Mike S left with probably the least to work with here out of their teammates who poured a little bit into this round. But again, sensible, little bit of a save here coming out from Penta. Lol does hit the deal, but just the one. And he'll be sent back in there. Markelov, the only player to fall, but he comes out with 2 kills in the round. Penta, no utility to get them to secret. They sort of just had to clean face out there by the silo, and they were picked apart by Woldetta and Markelov.
Yeah, Markelov's been on the mop the last couple of ecos for Penta, and he's padding his stats. He's up to 10 kills already, so he's loving it. I always loved a few cheeky eco kills. They were my bread and butter.
Well, now it might not be the option here for Flipside. Nothing easy forthcoming. You often picked up the scout, didn't you, Chad, as well?
I loved it, the jump scout. People hate it, but it was
always you, though, because you obviously weren't AWPing in Vox or in Renegades, but you loved a bit of scout.
Yeah, well, everyone else, you know, they didn't play scout knives as much as me, but here are the outsmokes that I was talking about. However, they want to fight in front of the smokes. Usually what you do is you either use the smokes to get you across to secret. Here we go, they've slowed it down a bit. This is nice. And they're only sending Crystal out there. So right now, right, those smokes are up. They don't know how many people have crossed to secret. So they have to rotate somebody under, and they haven't. So yeah, that's not
everything going to plan.
You do. Because right now they don't know if anybody's under. I guess they're going to play retake lower, but if somebody can, you know, weed their way through the lower site and come up behind them, that could be a problem later in the round. Electronic has just gone down there as I speak.
Right, well, he's dropped down. That was more for the pressure coming from ramp room. Now he's going to deal with Tarsen, but the second player not quick enough. Maybe just quick enough. All right, I'll correct myself there. Lol does get there eventually. A little bit of spray from Electronic, but Crystal has actually been sitting in secret this whole time and hasn't been doing a heck of a lot with that positioning. Now he might join the rest of his team as Blade starting to rattle the cage a little bit here from Toxic. Peek out, peek in. Flash down.
Crystal. Oh, no.
Cakes it. Absolutely cakes it. Didn't have the bomb at least. That was Mike S with the one-hander. Stefan at least was able to respond. So information at least is something that Penta are getting from these kills here. But now 2v2. Stefan heading topside.
Blade's going to be on their tail here. He was... Yeah, he's just spamming his way. They know where he is now. But it's going to be on this rotation here from Markelov, who is going to come through lobby. He might be able to find Mike. But Mike knows something's up here. This corner, you know, Markelov probably will not check this.
Let's have a look. Pushes forward. No, not going to be happening. But still, Blade with his third of the round there managed to sit in towards that A main. Bomb's ticking away though. That's the thing. Mike S is always going to be standing in between him and his objective now. But ooh, maybe a peek for the window would have had something for Blade there. But Mike S keeping himself scarce, keeping himself safe, and it comes down to the spray in the end. And it will be Mike to win that one out here. And Penta getting themselves a couple of these T-sided rounds that Flipside don't really want to allow to happen. Sure, the economy is mostly there for them. Well, sort of. I mean, Waylander obviously not loving life too much here, but enough to work with. But Penta have an opening here.
I think because this map is so CT biased that you can get away with lesser weaponry, utility to stop a top rush is very important. But if the other team doesn't go for a top rush and you get lucky, then, you know, you can play the close angles with that 5-7. It's even more effective than an AK in some situations. So this buy might not hinder them so badly. They do have a decent spread of weaponry here. I think outside would be the drama, even though Woldetta has an AWP. He's not taking duels where he's looking for early kills. He's kind of playing off the information that he's been getting from Markelov. And it looks like the crossfire they've got set up here. Markelov will be playing in the warehouse, so he'll see if they try and go cat.
Blade's coming secret there as well.
Yeah, so it's a heavy outside presence here. But Penta not doing anything.
So Penta forced rotations for the outside without actually being there. Now the smokes come in though. But Penta still don't... Yeah, okay, so nice little fake smokes coming out. There might be that top execute yet again, Chad, at this rate.
So Blade's job right now, he knows that nobody's there, right? He can see that nobody's come down secret yet. He's relaying that information. So this is the point where he's telling his teammates to stack topside and be ready for a top hit. However, Penta are playing on yellow, and they're going to go for like a top split through mini here as Blade pushes out, finds Crystal.
Well, Lol finds Blade, though, at least able to respond. Woldetta still up in the perch there as well. When Markelov chiming in, it's going to leave only 2 players left for Penta. So, interestingly enough, a couple of nades coming in there, but Mike S not even remotely ready for that one. Electronic gets himself 2, and that will be the defuse coming in there. So, having that player in secret, they're definitely paying off for Flipside, as they kind of knew that there was no one coming. And you can sort of peek towards the left side of the red container. You can see if anyone's sort of pushing up against the chain mesh fence. And I mean, that information, how important was that for Flipside there?
This is a map of rotations, and if the CTs know how to play it well enough, then they have a huge advantage. The T's are hoping, like I was saying earlier, to force people around the map with utility. If Flipside are on it and they understand how they need to rotate or what parts of the map are open and how to, you know, recover from that, then they're in a good place. And this is more rounds than they won last night on Nuke, I think. Was it 6?
Like, they were like 4, I think, against
Yeah.
Envious.
And they started on the CT side last night too, so they're doing better.
Well, Envious finding a little bit more form recently there. There are a few players you can describe that to, but PENTA recently had a fairly close affair against Heroic. I think they split that series, and one of the maps went to overtime, but it wasn't Nuke. They were 14 rounds to Heroic 16, so not terrible really from PENTA. It's just a funny thing about this team, a quality that PENTA displays that actually makes them a really interesting fixture inside the ESL Pro League where they're able to give us some games. Sometimes we don't really know why, which is the tricky part. It's not our job anyway, at least. So a little bit of tag on towards Stefan here. Blade just tip-tapping away there with the M4, does find Crystal's head as he just ducks past for a moment, shows himself. And, well, wrecks himself. Now it's going to be well edit. Found Mike. Tarstin backing away there from ramp room. Didn't fancy it for whatever reason. Electronic trying to find the best spot here. I think Stefan spotted him out. He's going to go for the spray down. It takes a lot of damage there. It gets completely hammered. And now World Edit will be the one that has to catch this. Now, if this is a multiple peak or there's any sort of flash utility being used, World Edit responding well to that one, but can't get the second. He's not quite the Guardian he hopes to be. And now PENTA have 2 players only, but they've managed to make some ground here. They got on a warp in an AK, and the rods are decent.
They look like they were running around like headless chooks there for a little while, but they were able to find a couple of cheeky frags. And this under bomb site now, that AWP can stay covering the vent.
I'll do it long.
Oh. Tarstin can get in the site and plant here. That AWP is an overseer in this situation.
Not when he's pulled out a Molotov there, but Blade doesn't have the angle to see Tarstin at this stage. So Tarstin, you gonna do it, mate? Gonna be cheeky? Thought he might jump on top of that one, but no. Gonna put it down on the lower levels here. Lol, lucky to be alive, but he's going to be pushed in just a moment here. I think Markelov trying to gain position on him, and Lol realizes that. He's like, all right, boys, I'm going to commit to this room. I've got no choice. Tarstin with some free damage there on towards Waylander, who's now trying to swap flies as Tarstin had already long since backed away.
Oh, no.
A decent setup here. Lol manages to get that first kill on towards Waylander, and now Tarstin's left on his own. No armor to speak of. Risky business here, no doubt about it, but it
Nice
gets the pick on
shot.
towards Markelov. Now it's a 1v1. Blade is to challenge this one. He's got a kid, so he can play for time a little bit, but still, how much time? Not going to be enough for him. His time is up, and Tarstin gets the kill. Again, PENTA come in with absolutely stuff all weaponry-wise, and they bring out the round. It's 6-3.
Is this a tilt pause? Is this where slowly falling off the edge of the earth tilt
This is
pause?
to technical pause.
So technical pause for PENTA means that the tilt by Flipside off the edge of the world has disrupted their computers, and they need to reset.
So his waves of negativity have just messed with the hard drives,
Yeah.
perhaps, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Blade, I don't know if he's going to allow the rest of his teammates to eat for a week if they don't win here. Not good. 11-4 on Markelov, 11-6 on Blade. So, no, not a terrible look. I mean, we really need to see this half materialize a little bit more before we can lay judgment here. But the rounds that Flipside are losing, quite frankly, are just boggling my mind. Yes, it was a good moment for Tarstin there, but still.
It's the same as last game. The rounds that they shouldn't be winning, they're winning. And the rounds which, you know, it looks like, hey, it's a 3v2, they've got the bomb site in full control, and somehow they give it up. It's very odd to me that, you know, I don't know if it's pressure. Surely it's not pressure. You're in your home environment right now. When you're playing online, you know, you have the comfort. You can look around your bedroom and go, this is a happy place, you know?
So I've got my teddy in the corner.
Yeah.
I've got my, you know, little shrine in the middle of the room where I can just sort of go to my headspace and relax.
I'd say for most of these guys, mummy's not too far away.
Probably not.
You know?
Some warm milk on the go.
So what's going on? Other than, you know, Electronic and Waylander, their ping isn't fantastic, but they do come from Russia. They're a bit further away.
Waylander lives still in Finland, I
Does
think.
he?
No, he might actually be back in Russia. I think the thing is he's got a Finnish passport, and that's why he actually stopped playing for a while, because he had to go and complete Finnish military service to keep his passport, I believe.
Okay.
So obviously pretty good to have if you're from, you know, Russia or the CIS region. Nice to have that passport as an EU citizen, dual citizen. So that's why he absconded. But I think he might actually be back in that part of the world now. So yeah, not great ping. But then you look at the teams. A lot of the teams, some teams are mostly Kazakhstani based, like it's not Hellraisers, is it? It's one of the other Russian mixes. But
Gambit?
Yeah, Gambit, there you go. Like they've got 3 Kazakhs on their team, and not great. Obviously connections for them, but it's a PENTA technical pause though, so it could be that standard TS problem here. To be fair, decent money here for PENTA. I mean, this is actually a chance to get themselves snatch away another round here on the T side, which would be an absolute blessing for them. I Flipside don't have a heck of a lot to be going on with, despite, you know, holding a decent Bastion up in the last few rounds.
Yeah, well, they went into that last eco round with only a few upgraded pistols, not a lot to work with, and managed to pull a rabbit out of the hat there. Flipside, on the other hand, they had everything they possibly wanted and couldn't get anything done with it. So losing in a 2v1 retake versus a guy with no armor, you're not happy with that. It's not a great situation to be in. And now they're on eco. The only person with money is World Edit, and he doesn't even have enough to get that AWP that he loves.
Does he ever? It's not going to be happening. I mean, this is... Well, yeah. I mean, with Electronic down to 1,700, you're not necessarily in... With the money on World Edit, you probably just, I don't know, hand some pistols out and hope that you can sort of spread over this one. But, oh, man. And that's one of the things that really counteracts the CT bias in this map, is if you do, as a CT side, get put in that dastardly double eco situation, that's where you give the rounds up, or at least you can.
Well, when you rely on AWP so heavily, the CT side's a pretty cruel mistress because, you know, an AWP only gets $100 per kill, which, if you ask me, is rubbish. Gabe, fix that. But... you know, you're reinvesting. If you need to drop your AWP, if he's dying a lot and you're not recovering it, your riflers need to be dropping him, and then the riflers are sacrificing their utility, and then it hurts them on other parts of the map just so one guy can have his favored weapon.
Sure.
This is why, like, having an AWPer as a specialty, if he is a top-class AWPer, if he's a Guardian, you know, if he's a Simple, if he's... who else can I think of right now? Even like Mao, for example, he's a really good AWPer, and he uses it to help his team quite successfully to open into rounds. Then sure, I can see reinvesting in it a lot as a positive thing. But if you don't have a superstar AWPer, then you need to be able to play proficiently with 5 rifles.
You blokes played against Fluffy. Did you play against Fluffy Gangsters at the Cologne qualifiers?
Yeah, on Mirage.
Because we did see that Little was like very much the same kind of guy. Really couldn't rifle that well. I think got like 2 kills. Is that something you're thinking about as well, playing against him? Is the guy sort of kind of one-dimensional in that regard? Very good AWPer, but couldn't do much else.
Well, yeah, if they have such a good AWPer and you'd never let them build up an economy good enough to buy the AWP, then sure, that's a huge success. It's a bonus.
Right.
When we played them, look, to be completely honest, we didn't really do a lot of research on them.
Yep.
I know that sounds stupid at a major qualifier.
You guys have just been in from Atlanta as well, though. I remember showing the guys at breakfast.
There's no excuses about that kind of stuff, but not that we wrote them off or anything, but the way that I look at that is when you go in and you're the favored team, the other team can counter-strike the hell out of you, right? But if you go in there thinking that, you know, thinking they're a huge threat or questioning the way that you play the game, that's where you're going to come into problems. You need to be confident and play your style. So we took a little look and we saw, you know, obviously this Little was the AWPer and this, that, and the other about their play style, but we also learned that Little was a massive rager as well.
Yep.
So once you put that guy on tilt, he's just going to unhinge and... You know.
Is that something you guys think about doing a lot as well? Because I remember that same tournament, Splice were screaming their bloody heads off every time they got one shotgun kill as well, being as obnoxious as possible. Is that something guys ever try and employ, or is it in this age of noise-cancelling headsets, is it not much of a thing for you?
Yeah, with the noise-cancelling headsets, you can't really hear it. Like, I was known for yelling like an idiot, and some people didn't like it.
Mate,
but
I remember CGPLs, mate. I remember.
Yeah, yelling was to hype me and the team up, right? So, like, we were a momentum-based team in early Vox days, and I learned the hard way that that's not a sustainable thing. If you come off the back of beating Titan in a major and then have to go playing NIP after that and you've used all of your juice, you're going to struggle and probably lose 16-6 on Inferno.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? I mean, we're still in this technical pause, by the way, guys. I know what you're all thinking. Who are these guys? Well, you should know that by now. Why are they still talking? Well, it's kind of what we're paid to do, so... It's funny, it's such a placid setting for a nuclear power plant with people trying to kill each other.
Let's talk about home. What do you miss being here?
Oh, mate, I miss the AFL. I miss the beach.
Okay.
I miss being able to buy like decent thongs or decent flip-flops for like less than bloody 50 euros. Because now, right, over here, like a decent pair of Havies is like a specialty bloody fancy souvenir thing you buy here as well. Right? I just want like a decent pair of Havies, but no, you can't get them. So I've been flopping around in some I got from a hotel in Birmingham, mate. That's the struggle. So
did they have like not leather slap? What was it? I think I saw you walking around in them. The strap. It didn't look nice.
It was pretty arse, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, not the same anyway.
I wouldn't be caught dead wearing them.
No, well, no one really knows. I mean, they're going to think you're a bloody idiot anyway with whatever sort of flip-flops you wear. But I don't know, I miss the beach. There's not much of that here. There is a bit of a lake close by to Cologne that we had to ride like 20 k's to get to, but it was all right.
I saw people like sunbathing next to the river. The Rhine.
Yeah, and the current in that thing as well is super dangerous. There's only a few places you can do it because you're just going to get ripped away. It's a pretty thing to look over, I guess, as you're on the tram in the morning. But I don't know, I miss my local pub, I'll be honest with you. I do like a bit of that. Have a bit of a punt, sit with the boys. Yeah, not too bad though. This is a decent spot. What about you, mate? You haven't been here for long. What are you missing?
Not a lot, really.
Yeah.
Just my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Being really soppy. Nah, I don't know. When I was living in Vegas, it was such a contrast. You couldn't get a fresh meal. It's Vegas. Everything's artificial, right? Unless you go out to like a super fancy restaurant, then you struggle.
bugger that.
And I wanted to avoid that as much as possible. So when I was over there, food was a big one. We lived in a hotel, couldn't cook for ourselves.
Right.
That was pretty rubbish. And what else was bad about it? Vegas is if you want to party and get drunk all the time. And people think that I'm a specialist at that for some unknown reason.
Why would they think that?
I
mate?
don't know. Maybe it's the hair. I look pretty crazy. But
To be fair, mate, even events back in Australia, you guys are relatively well behaved. It was more Azad that was the instigator when it came to
We
that
called
kind of
him
festivity.
bottle of vodka a day, Azad.
Oh, that's compact. That's an easy way to easy way to call him.
Well, you know you're in trouble when you start getting gout from drinking too much alcohol.
Oh, we love him. We miss you, Top Gun, mate. Good times. Obviously, he's got himself a missus now as well. But we got ourselves a game. So let's jump in and see how it all goes. Of course, there's Flipside coming in with just the pistols here. Bit of a wonky economy for them and a chance for PENTA to break another one back in.
That's a good start. That's what you want.
Oh, God.
Yeah, all right. Marky Mark.
Old mate, going to get himself two. Looking for another one as well.
I thought it would have been nice. They have the round, now they have the man advantage, but they haven't been able to salvage those guns because he killed them in a position where, you know, the T's have control of. So those kills, as much as they're fantastic, they're almost in vain because we see, like, a USP. A 5.7 could be nice on Blade. He's a bit of a specialist with that pistol.
We do see him opt for it on occasion. He himself is actually just inside that top A site, so just tucked away. Waiting for his chance to sort of push forward here. So a minute past in the round here, guys. Keeping you up to date with all the important statistics. Well, there's an app for that, but Alex will tell you about it later. Still, it's going to be Tarsin looking for ramp for him here as well. He's going to have Stefan to back him up. Well, I think he's pushed up right close on the right, so this is an interesting spot. A little bit harder to sort of read into. I don't think this was here on the first. Can he not? Okay, well, then he gets himself one with the pistol. Just one, but that's enough. I mean, this is still taking the wind out of Penta's sails, so to speak. They're at least going to make some progress over the map, but they're forced to pay dearly at every twist and turn.
Wayland just grabbed an AK as well. And Blade, there he is.
So dumb, Chad.
Well, what are we watching? Because I think if both teams, let's just do this. Both teams only buy pistols. You can buy a head armor and utility and just play like that. Just that'd be the game.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely give us quite an entertaining firefight scenarios. Let PENTA play worse when they're brought up? I don't know. Shot came in there as well from the direction of Blade. Oh, it's a tough spray down for Stefan.
Nice.
Yeah, Blade just goes and cleans him up there. Wasn't really any time anyway, but he's made sure we didn't get to that point. So PENTA, their best chance of the game to get themselves essentially, and we call this with waggled fingers, a free round, but have been sold a bum steer, should I say, and it's going to be Flipside to win back with Deagles and 5.7s. Brilliant.
Well, with Markov getting 2 crisp kills like that, that's always going to give you a good chance, but they are buying into this. Mike's expended all of his dollary dues, but Tarsin, he didn't get the memo. He's still got 3,600.
No. Well, he's got an AK on him here, so he'd eventually spend
He went back on board. He went back on
money.
board, yeah. That was a late call out of spawn. That's the in-game leaders made a call, and everyone else is already leaving spawn. They've come up with their own plan.
I'd be mad. Would you be mad?
I'd be real mad, especially when Azza would always buy pistols like insta, and I was deciding if we were going to force buy into a round or not, and he'd already bought like a pistol and armor, and I'm like, all right, I guess the decision's been made for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ward. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, there you go. Home truth's hitting home now. It's going to be Waylander gets himself up on towards the rafters here. It'll be fairly easy pickings for him now. Stefan spraying wildly away with the Tech 9. One arm is covering his eyes, and the other one is trying to control his weapon. Mike S gives him the big old slip. Got himself a bomb.
A plan would be nice. They full invested into that round after all, so this is just going to help them later down the track. But it's a consolation, really. They're not going to win this round. I say that. Here we go. Watch this amazing 1v3.
1v3 it is. Mike S on the bomb. It's Flipside very slowly playing this one. Waylander gets a little bit more than he bargained for as he pushes out. There's no miracle spray down. There's no fairy tale ending to that round. It's going to be Mike S put in the dirt, or at least in the liquid, the water used for cooling these nuclear rods.
Something went the way it should, but here's the thing, right? If you're going to do a top execute like that versus a team who just ecoed you and now has full utility, you need to wait later in the round. You need to force rotation like I was talking about earlier. You need to bait out utility. You need to feign it. You could even double pump it.
Feign it. That's the one.
Don't execute and run in on guys who can throw grenades at you and slow you down and make your rush disjointed or your attack disjointed, and that's what's happening. This is the same thing I was saying the other day about teams who copy executes, right? And then they just use them. You need to know why you're using them. And they're going to make it quickly onto ramps here. They will trade out into Electronic and get an AK.
Well, missed shot there from World Edit. That's not really the way things were planned to go. Lol finds Markelov with the pistol, and Blade, the pump action shotgun, hasn't given him too much action, as it were, so far.
Is he... the stream didn't see that, but Blade just used the alligator from a distance that should never be used and managed to get a frag with 3 shots, and my mind is blown.
What was it, like 10 meters, 20 meters?
So Blade was pushed out to the outside boxes, like the T ones, and the other guy was on the roof. Yeah.
Well, I guess now would like to join Stefan eventually, but maybe a little bit more groundwork needs to be laid on this B site before Penta really have any sort of peace of mind about planting and setting up for the after situation. It is an emergency, Stefan. Consider breaking that glass, mate. But no. Keeping himself nice and quiet. Again, he's seeing everything on the side. There's no one on the side. That's all well and good, but it's more than simple for Flipside to sort of jump down from the vents, get their Batman on easily.
I wanted him to plant on the silo. Should have planted on the silo, dude.
Waylander responds. 1 health for Waylander here, so Stefan probably would want to push him, but there might be a couple more players waiting for him. No, actually, Waylander went up in a different direction, so he'll be able to get that one and actually not have to pay any health for it. Another plant here will be good for Penta. They can sort of keep buying something into this. Bit of a check there. Flipside now got to push this one surely on towards Stefan. Yep, Vent gets broken in. Stefan actually keeps himself out of their line of sight for a little bit, but Blade pushes in, almost dies for that one there as well. 2 for him for the round, and that will be Flipside now getting themselves yet another defuse. So they're going to 9 and 3 here. Penta looking for at least 1 more.
I want to see a clean round to Counter-Strike. I want to see the CTs, when they should win a round nice and cleanly, win it, and the Ts, when they should win theirs, do the same. Is that too much to ask?
No, well, so far it has been, to be honest. So far, neither of these teams have shown any inclination to play it cleanly or to play it safely in some regards there. We've seen some weird stuff in general. I mean, what we didn't see on screen of Blade sort of getting work done with the shotgun there has been fairly a decent metaphor for the way this game has played out. Not in the way it perhaps should, but that's Counter-Strike for you. Love it or hate it, it's the game that we all like here to watch. Or meme in Twitch chat. Or listen to 2 Aussies talk about things you don't know. Either way, that's what we're here for. So Blade drops down. A lot of windows getting broken in now. Sounds like Frankston on a Saturday night.
Oh, Jesus.
You been there?
No, I can't say I have.
It's shocking. It's not good. Or Elizabeth in Adelaide.
These are the rotations, right, with Blade that we're talking about here. But World Edit, once again, close topside with an AWP. He's going to get punished again. Yeah, there it is. I'm so confused. Waylander's going to, you know, get the 2 frags he needed, make that a 3rd. And this round should be going in the favour nice and easily of Flipside.
Well, it's been a fairly drawn-out first half. Chad, I'll be honest with you, of course, the pause in there didn't help too much, but Penta have squandered a couple big opportunities that they've had to make a big difference now. And these top executes, you were talking about them, you said they're sort of running into a lot of this utility and being cut down. Again, it seems as if they haven't learned their lesson from previous gun rounds where they've sort of come up with nothing.
Yeah, I think they need to kind of reevaluate the way or when they use these top executes. Versus full utility is not ideal. Outside presence, like I've mentioned, is very integral. We haven't seen them do it a lot. They've done it 1 round where Crystal kind of lurked across.
And then another round where just smokes and no one went there.
No one went, yeah. It was all a bit too much for them to give it another crack. I think, you know, that's the go-to, and I don't know why we haven't seen it more, because as much as it is repetitive, it's a fantastic way to keep the CTs moving.
Or at least keep them guessing, you know? They don't really know if you're going to be, you know, at least that forces them to play someone in towards Seeker, in towards that warehouse and try and get some intel. But Penta, again, fancy just to go for the guts here. Again, on towards the inside, and Mike has made his way now towards the lower levels. Checking to see if there's going to be a rotator from Secret. Sees no one. Stefan wins that out against Blade. Okay, so Penta buying with just a couple AKs and a scout and a couple pistols here and are making decent progress. Marquez has seen nothing in these lower levels here, but Penta still want to pressure on towards the upper side. So again, they're running to Electronic. It's either him or Waylander up in the rafters, and this time it's Electronic coming away with the honours. Gets taken down finally by Tarston, and Penta had such a surplus of players going into this push that, you know, in some ways, it's kind of a weird way to put it, they can afford to take some casualties. But now that time is over. Now, every life is important, as it always should be, but World Edit finds Tarston, and now we have a 2v2. The afterplant situation, though, has begun.
Markelov is only an 11. Nope, there he goes. Just as I said. World Edit is going to find a really hard time retaking with the AWP because he's only going to have close angles to find here, and if the Tech-9 to the back of the head takes you down, well, that's the round over.
Interesting stuff there. I mean, Penta, again, don't bother with the outside of the map. They still want to pressure on towards the inner. A couple decent shots coming through there, and I think it was Mike S, the one who managed to get himself on towards the lower levels. So perhaps there was some information, crucial information, that was gained by Penta there, you know, to sort of inform their push on towards that side, or to give them more confidence about where the players for Flipside might be waiting, Chad. But a chance for a 5th here potentially for Penta. But let's see if they play this out a little bit differently. A good example to see 2 properly brought up teams now playing and seeing how Penta want to play into this T side. This time they got 2 players on the outside of the map.
World are getting really aggressive here. So this is much better. This is a better line for him. It's better than being close, hard, or squeaky. And Electronic will get 1, but World will get taken down by Mike, and we're in a 4v4.
Well, I mean, you know, for World Edit, there is either one angle or the other. It's very, very hard to cover them both. Don't know if you saw the gun barrel off towards the right side. Lol, okay, then gets caught as he tries to go in towards Secret. So Stefan gets there, and luckily he was the bomb carrier, so he doesn't give too much of the game away. The question is, how much of this was seen? How many players did Flipside actually realize were going towards Secret? Markelov still seems to be looking the direction. Yeah, okay, so he's expecting more at this stage. They haven't seen the bomb, as I said. But look, you know, you can see how this is forced rotations out. Crystal takes down Markelov. It's a headshot very, very quickly coming through. And now Flipside probably can't be too sure about where this bomb could be going. Strong presence established on the outside of the map for Penta, and this is kind of what you wanted to see.
They look like they're going to pincer on top here with Stefan and Mini, and Mike going to come through Heart. Wow. As soon as they peek, someone on the rafters is just taking them down every time. Blade's going to get Stefan, and now Mike is going to have a lot of work to do. Wayland are dropping down like a drop bear. They're really scary. Vegemite is the only deterrent.
Vegemite?
Yep.
So I've had to go slather it all over yourself as well. Or just sleep with a sleep in the same area as an Aussie bloke as well. I've heard that. Works on the Danish tourists.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Producer. Is that better?
They can't
Have
see
I
your
fixed
cord.
it?
That's fine. It's funny because the whole point is that no one knows that your cord was in the wrong position.
But now I told him.
Now you told him.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't mind
I
where your
messed
cord
up.
is, to be honest.
He said he's deducting money out of my...
Really?
Yeah.
So that's now what, you're down to €40? Yeah, bit of rough.
Slave labour.
Well, that's the way it goes. Yeah, well, what better than 2 Aussies to make it, mate? Anyway, let's go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. After the break, we'll return with the second half of this scintillating match of Counter-Strike. It's been Penta struggling to make any decent inroads on the T side. A couple rounds by the end of it, but maybe not as much as they would have liked. Let's see what they can do when they go to the CT side after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro League. It's getting a bit foggy in here, but we're back with the last half of the night. Got to be going over towards, of course, staying on Nuke for the second half. It will be Penta going to the CT side. Bit of a weird T side from them there, Chad. You don't expect to see the T side get too many rounds here, but you think there was probably more opportunities for Penta to achieve than what we saw?
I just think setting that outside precedent is very important. I harp on it every time I see Nuke, and I would have liked to see it a few more times because it was relatively effective for them the first time they did it. Looks like we could be seeing a faster pistol round here because that's an interesting smoke by Waylander. Surprising tidbit. When Markaloff was in Na'Vi back in the old 1.6 days, they never used to play Nuke, and he's now top fragging for Flipside on Nuke.
There you go. Crystal, though, is going to shut him right the heck down, Chad. Sorry to break the narrative a little bit there. Blade and World Edit might try and salvage the situation, but Crystal's done pretty nicely here. This is exactly, I mean, this is necessity for Penta here. He gets himself 4 kills. He doesn't give a damn, really, does he? Just pushing straight forward. It's been an excellent performance from him thus far. And, you know, with the bomb drop there, Mike Hess is like, you know what, Crystal, you go keep doing your thing, mate. Get in there. Get into it.
We're on the highlight.
That'd
That pistol, though, people have so much confidence with it, and they, like, with it, when the pistol round, you know that you just need one bullet to connect to that head, and I think that's why people have so much confidence. Those Glocks, it's very hard to get the bink off and make those frags, and when you're hitting shots like that, why not go aggressive?
Yeah, beautiful stuff from him there as well. It's funny what you can do with the USP and a dream, and well, so far, Penta are just one step closer to it here. Whether that's setting Flipside solidly down on the bottom of the table or giving themselves more of a fighting chance in the next season, they're on the way. That's the point. Crystal, nade towards outer, does catch on very heavily towards Waylander as well. He's going to fill that one in the morning. And he has the job that we saw Markaloff sort of fulfill in that last half, except he wants to push a little bit wider, further afield.
What are you doing, Crystal?
He's so aggressive. He is such an aggressive player all the time. Doesn't matter what weapon, doesn't matter what context, he will go for the throat. And this time, well, it's his that gets punched in.
He just gave away an M4. That was the best weapon that they had on the CT side. He's pushed up to T-Red, where he could get swarmed and nobody could help him, and now he's given away an M4. And
you know, that's something Markaloff never did as well. If you want to use him as an example, Markaloff played the same position, never forged further afield than maybe the warehouse. He never peeked that left side of the red container. And, well, he didn't die in many of those situations. He had some big rounds. So, yeah, shame on you. Crystal, slap to the wrist from you, surely.
Well, Electronic now has an M4 and head armor. So he's laughing. He went into this round with a Deagle and head armor, and now he's just got an upgrade for free. And if they use their positioning correctly here, they can use Markaloff to scout out where somebody is, and then boom, out comes Electronic. He can make that frag. He is going to go with Markaloff up the ladder, which is nice, but World Edit will go down in the meantime.
Right. So things starting to get put back where they maybe should be. No, Tarson was not visible there. He's in the lower levels, guys. X-ray can be confusing. So, Lol gets challenged out. Electronic there making life pretty easy for himself, getting the M4.
Do this. I'm on him. I'm on the Electronic train.
Get around him, as we'd say. Let's see what he can do. Oh, there's the spray down on towards Tarson there. Comfortable enough. He switches towards the Glock. Burst fire. All right then, mate. Let's see what you've got. Not going to be quite enough. Burst fire there is a questionable decision. But
it was a close one.
We had no time to reload his M4, so reasonable enough there. But interesting choice. 19 health left for Stefan, and yeah, Penta almost let that one get well away from them here. But they secure it. Only hold one gun into the next round, though, and it's still a very shaky economy. But Flipside may opt to be a bit more well-behaved here.
This is where you should force buy if you're the T's, right? You have I know you don't really want to give away your massive lead, but you just took 4 guns and got the plant. You may as well keep the pressure on and buy up, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. They're saving a little bit of money in the bank, though. Like, World Edit will have enough to maybe go for an AWP next round, but everybody else seems to have invested Tech 9s in utility, and Electronic even has a Zeus, so let's see how that goes.
All right, I'm down with this one. Electronic trying to get up on top of the silo here as well. I mean, we can watch this for a while. This is enjoyable for me.
This is a good movement. So if you can move like that, you're probably an old man like me. You run into the walls as you run around the map. It's really good.
Right, lining something up here. Interestingly enough, Electronic. So, bit of foon. No, just a smoke. Not just a smoke, of course. Something important. It's going to make it harder for Crystal, I guess, who it was, to control the outer part of the map. He's being a bit more well-behaved in this round, you'll note.
Thank God.
Yeah, well, Flash came in towards World Edit there. Probably didn't exactly get to read exactly where Tarsin was, but unsurprisingly, yes, Flipside have encountered a Penta player inside ramp room. World Edit there strays a little bit too far off his line, and Tarsin puts one between his brows. That'll be Electronic and Blade to go hunting. I don't know if they're going to really batter the door down here. Stefan will be waiting. Here comes the execute there. Molotov comes into the top side. Stefan, oh, that's a bit shaky aim there, my friend. He gets taken down as a result. Mike S can try and salvage the situation if he can, but Waylander gets on towards Lol. Now, Mike S back with another frag. Just taking a big old step in the reverse direction here, not peeking over on towards his site too much now. Waylander is exceedingly low.
Oh, not getting the plant down. It would have been... Oh, they did, sorry. I skipped the wrong player. Another frag or the plant there was integral for Flipside because they're probably going to buy into this round now. If they had gotten that extra frag, it would have made it very difficult for Penta to drop enough guns because their economy is strapped right now as well. So we used to have an in-game leader back in the day in 1.6, and he would always harp on about if you're in a position, you know, you're saving a weapon, maybe try and get that third frag so we're going to keep their economy very low. They have to drop, you know, more guns than they can, and that was always something which stuck with me.
Yeah, it's always the magic number, isn't it? 3, and then obviously you're forcing those 2 players remaining to sort of drop if they have to, or even 2 frags is okay, but yeah, good way to keep the economy low. Now, Penta's still isn't established here. This is the thing, and coming into a gun round, the first gun round for Penta saw them go up against the flip side that had 4K in the bank already. So just, you know, some of those nuances we've seen in the last few rounds have actually set Flipside up here to be able to run over the top of Penta in a, you know, in a sense, if they manage to win this round. That's a big if, big caveat here, and that will depend on the next few moments and how Flipside set themselves up into this one.
The interesting thing about this is Flipside don't have a lot of utility once again. Now, if you're going to play this kind of style, it looks like they're baiting out utility and waiting it out. Make sure that you regroup because you're going to rely heavily on trade kills. I don't want to see any of these Flipside members going off on their own, going on little, you know, missions to try and make the round themselves. They have to wait out the utility. They have to be patient enough and listen to Blade, who's going to make the call, and use the very few flushes and smokes they have to hit somewhere. If you're going off and giving kills and putting your team in a 4-on-5 situation, you're not helping anybody.
52 seconds remain in the round here for Flipside to make a move. We've called them slow before, but this is definitely a bit more of a stately approach to this round. Again, outside seems to be the pick here. One smoke comes down on the outside. We're seeing Tarson right now, but this is what I wanted to see. So yeah, they didn't have the extra smoke to get Waylander in there safely, but he still gets across nonetheless. Markelov just checking. Crystal, he's playing so passive this round. This time he's not even watching the people crossing over. He sees Electronic, still dies, had himself sort of sandwiched in there. And Mike S, I think he was on the girders on the top side there, gets picked off here. This is working really nicely for Flipside.
That was a really weird outside execute, but yeah, those 2 kills by Electronic opened the round up completely, and now Worldred's going to find one.
Low on his own. He's got Electronic there. Can't even connect that one. Oh, okay. We got to talk about this one a little bit more here because Flipside didn't have the smokes in their pocket to actually put the double smoke down to get them towards secret there. And so they use Electronic up on the silo and up on just, you know, sort of the higher ground there as well to challenge the walkway and gets himself 2 kills. Oh, Crystal, like, one round he's right in the enemy's face, and next round he doesn't even peek wide enough to see players crossing from red.
Yeah, it didn't look like they had a very good CT setup there. They didn't have players in positions to either get a cheeky kill and get out or rotate effectively. Once you're stuck in that warehouse area and somebody's up on the catwalk, it's a fight that you have to take, and it seemed like he didn't even realize that the player was up on catwalk, or it was a possibility because he got taken out without any dramas.
Odd, really odd round, but that's big for Flipside now. And you can see, because they put so much, you know, effort into damaging the economy of Penta in those first few rounds, it forced when they did, even if they knew they might lose, get bomb plants. Look at this now, Tarson has the challenge.
What is happening, man?
The Pistol's getting the job done here. Tarson and Mike S somehow making it work. Again, a round you shouldn't be winning if you're Penta. This should be Flipside actually getting another one on top for free, essentially, because they paved the way. They put so much effort into setting themselves up to have this round. This should be theirs for the taking, but they need to, you know, exert a little bit here of pressure on towards Penta if they want it, and so far they haven't done that. The fact that you can peek from that ramp room and get a couple kills is just nutty, and now Flipside just completely ground to a halt.
The decision they should make is just go to ramp where those 2 kills are made. Just go as a unit. You know they're most likely going to get those kills and fall right back, which is exactly what they've done, and just play to that hole because they're going to think that they're going to force you to another part of the map. If you do the thing which is not the most recognized play, you can catch them off guard, and that is what they could do here. As Tarson does take a bit of damage, but isn't deterred from ramps. Oh, no. Yep. Yeah, he is.
Yep. Get it back right off here. So, all right, Flipside, fine. Your move. They take a little bit more, you know, of that real estate, approach a little bit more in towards the ramp room. Crystal falls down there as well. That was an outside player, and then Waylander gets one on the site. So, okay, things are now finally starting to happen the way they should. Tarson, who had already left ramp room, saw him back away from that little situation after going down to 34 now. Well, it probably just has to try and hold on to his gun here. I mean, the economy's still pretty crap for Penta. I mean, this will be Yeah, not great. I mean, after winning the pistol here, PENTA have been pretty well slowed down, so not bad for Flipside here to get 2 rounds so early on in this second half.
He might try and cheat his way around into lobby to find one of those guns, knowing that Flipside are probably going to want to hold on to theirs. Waylander is protecting the weapons and for some reason is choosing to do so with the AWP. You may as well keep an AK now, and then when the bomb explodes or when the bomb is closer to exploding, pull out the AWP and, you know, save it at that point. He has too many angles to watch right now, and you can see him stupidly jiggling back and forth. Well, no, you can't. I can see it. It's all right. He saved the AWP. It's all good. It's all good. The economy's been, it's slightly hurt, but he can drop that AWP. World Edit has enough to drop an AK. They're all good right now, and, you know, it was a pretty successful eco by PENTA, but
it would have been better, I guess, if we saw Tyson drop down, just get the 1 kill and get himself a gun and run away. I suppose that would be an even worse for Flipside.
Yeah, like what happened was exactly how I was saying. PENTA got those 2 kills at ramps, and then they thought, okay, there's no way they're coming ramp, and Flipside went and did that play, and that was good. Why do you have a Mac 10 Markelov?
He has 1550 in the pocket still, so I'm not really sure. Maybe he wants to.
Has 3.3.
He might want to build up a bit of a bank here, but PENTA have bought into this round. Did he think they'd double eco here?
It's strange because
they won the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, and they got so many kills just there, so they might have thought they could have forced in based off of almost killing everybody last round. It's a risk that I don't think they needed to take. But on Markelov's side, the CTs, only one of them has head armor, so it might come in handy after all.
Well, I mean, often they're not going to bother really against AKs to buy that head armor, so I guess it makes sense. More opportunities for a T-sided player to find them actually some bit more value with the Mac 10. So here's the double smoke. You see this now?
I don't like this version. I like it when they do it deeper, the smokes that go and make an actual wall with the red box, because the CTs have no way of seeing over it and there's no gaps. But what it will find when they're over the smoke, and Crystal getting overwhelmed.
So like a one-way smoke for World Edit there as well. We saw that he was aiming up on towards Mike S, I think it was, who just took ages to respond. So it must have been really hard for him to see World Edit even pick up on that smoke.
It's a good spot. It's a nice little trick. I've seen it used before. Even on the deep wall smokes, you get on that little yellow pole, and you can see if Electronics is doing work. He's getting around to that ladder quite a lot and making a lot of frags.
Stefan now went towards the side. He actually managed to get one for his trouble. Oh, there's the Mag 10 of Markelov finally coming into its own here, but Blade, good positioning, good crossfire. Flipside now starting to have their way with PENTA. PENTA, not a lot of money in the bank here. This is dangerous territory for them in a big way. But and this is terrible. I mean, now you have to go, all right, we're going to have to save this and play for overtime here. Flipside have completely outgamed them in these last few rounds on the T side. It's actually been some decent CS to watch here, Chad. I think you might agree there with a few exceptions, of course, but they definitely have PENTA on the ropes here.
Look, it's exciting to see, you know, pistol kills going off, but sometimes you just want to see clean Counter-Strike. And Flipside have been demonstrating that in the last few rounds. They've recovered from that shakiness earlier. And they're showing that they know the importance of yard. They're using out control properly. They're making PENTA rotate around, and it's good to see. Blade is known a mastermind as a tactician, and it's good to see him thinking similar to me, because it makes me feel a bit better about my in-game leading abilities.
You feel validated a bit.
Yeah.
Well, so far so good, Chad. So far so good. If you want to pay him, guys, you can be a coach, I'm sure. Just make sure you're in a really nice location. That will be important.
You gotta make room. I want my own house.
Yeah, own house. Right. Do you want a cleaning lady, or can you do that yourself?
No, I can clean myself, but I'd like a nice car, if possible.
Okay, you wouldn't be able to, you struggle to drive in Europe though. You're on the wrong side of the road.
Oh,
Man, I can't even cross the road in Germany sometimes without looking the wrong way.
People on bikes, they don't stop for anyone, yeah.
Oh, and the cabs are even worse, mate. But that's an aside. Tarsin got himself an AK there, managed to pick out Waylander. And Flipside, yeah, this out of control. Look at where they're positioned here.
Blade needs to get back on the KZ maps. Oh. That Molotov wreaked havoc on Stefan there. And they should be able to split onto top site with Blade, up ladder. Yeah, nice and easy now. Gonna get that bomb down at the... Oh,
do it.
Why don't you plan on the silo? Did they remove it? I don't think they did.
No, I'm pretty sure you can still do it. I don't know. Maybe it's a gentleman's agreement not to do it. I don't know. It was kind of obviously really, really strong position there. Tarsin, no luck for him. This is seriously bad news for PENTA now. Obviously, they knew they'd be playing for overtime at the very least because of coming into this round with not a lot to work with. And, well, Flipside really just outplaying them here as well. Using yard control, Chad, like you said.
I don't think we're excited enough. Flipside are about to get their first win in, what is this, their 12th match? 12th match?
Give me a sec.
Here we go. Get pumped. Get amped.
And it's match point here. Flipside just 1 round away from taking it from PENTA. Going to split this series 1 apiece. That would be fantastic for them as they have been looking for this win all season. It's going to be a board-up round here, Chad, and I'm excited to see if PENTA can hold on or Flipside will run over.
Electronics breathing a life into this Flipside team. They were looking depleted. Lovely to see here. Great Counter-Strike being displayed by the Flipside unit.
And they are a unit indeed. Tarsing going to come around the corner. Blade, though, catches him out. Maybe he's more of a moon unit at this stage. Flash in. And Stefan just around the corner now as well. It is getting a little bit close here for PENTA. Surely starting to stress out a little bit now as World Edit cuts down Stefan inside. And it's going to be a second for World Edit. Gets himself a big chunk of this round involvement. And now it's going to be Crystal and Micus left on their own. Just the two of them. The bomb hasn't been planted yet as Flipside seem to be happier playing with their food for the moment. We better hope it's tasty in the end because Crystal can't hold against 2 great little double pig coming in. And Micus will be on his own up in rafters. And it's not going to be enough. Flipside get their first win of the season and the crowd goes wild. Or at least they would if maybe they were playing in a decent event. But hey, they'll be at the major, so that's great.
Fantastic. They've done it. They've broken the curse. Electronics actually looking like a really good addition to this team. And they now have a bit of aggression on their T side. You know, they have somebody who's happy to take those duels, happy to get involved, and I could get excited for Flipside if we see things like this in the future.
There's potential. You know, everyone talked about Shara as well and said, okay, there have been some harsh things said about Shara. He's had his moments, but maybe never really had that pure aggression, the X factor, the killing edge, whatever you want to call it. But we've seen that Electronics also been fairly self-sufficient as a player. And the positions been put in over these last couple maps, especially on Overpass, even though that wasn't such a great story. For Flipside, he himself had a few precious little moments there as well. So not too bad as well, and a decent sign for the young, new addition to Flipside. Chad, let's finish it off here. I think they've had enough of the Vegemite special. We're going to pass it now over towards the desk to close us out for the night.
Thanks very much, Mitch. Vegemite is all about the Marmite. I live the Marmite life. Henry, I assume you do too.
I think that's what they were getting at, yeah.
Is there a Serbian equivalent to I love it, I hate it bread spread?
A yeast-based spreadable product.
I love him so much. He just looks at me like, I wish you were dead. I want to talk about CS, which is what we should do. Let's do that instead. Flipside have broken the curse. 1-11 now as they stand in the ESL.
What a storyline.
Woo! The dream is real, and they can start clawing their way out of relegation.
It's still important, though, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not getting relegated and staying in the Pro League, a very prestigious league. It's a big deal staying in it. Going down to Premier could be a massive detriment to the organisation, to the players, and to morale. So it's good. They started to arrive here, and maybe they can start the campaign to stay alive. And we have to say, Electronic, he seems to be revitalising the Alex. He actually seems like he's actually a really decent addition in terms of fragging power. He seems like he's gelling with the unit quite nicely. We saw a good game on Overpass from him, but they couldn't quite find the victory. But the second map, they finally do it. Another good performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's two maps, right, Rankin? We don't go too crazy reading into Electronic, but so far it seems all right.
I mean, he played for them against Envious yesterday as well, so didn't help them a lot in that game, did he?
Yeah, it was 16-4, 16-5.
He tried his best. Give him a chance.
No, I'm kidding. Obviously, a huge,
task,
task, but a huge burden off the heart of Flipside here, finally getting that win. The potato is out.
You see, you call it a potato.
That's how we say when you have a 0, it's a potato.
We call it a goose egg. We can't really laugh at his potato. I mean, it's
don't laugh at my
We can laugh at Chad's potatoes because in his apartment he had some mouldy potatoes growing in various and all sorts. But our biggest takeaway is Flipside on the road to recovery. It's going to be a very intense 2 weeks for Flipside. Not forgetting that in the ESL Pro League, the team at the bottom of the table, the bottom of the 14, will be instantly relegated. And so that's a very scary scenario to be in. We've seen that happens to teams like that before.
Well, who knows? Maybe they decide to expand the league.
I realized what you were about to do. I was like, don't let him talk, and he talked. Okay, dank memes aside, it's been a great day. Let's bring them up because there's not too much to reflect upon Flipside PENTA. It was most definitely not the most beautiful of Counter-Strike, but still, Flipside found themselves that much-needed win, and we can go ahead and reflect upon our day. It started with what was the most surprisingly quick game of Counter-Strike on Cobble we've seen in a while, between two large names, Navi and Virtus Pro. Henry, you casted it. Virtus Pro just stormed through.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw them slip up after a 12-3 victory yesterday against Hellraisers. Somehow they do the same thing again, and I thought, not 12-3, it's going to fall apart. They managed to win the pistol and see them off. Great start from Virtus Pro, and yeah, 16-3, what a fantastic result. But Brilliant. It wasn't such clean sailing going on the second map, was it, Alex?
It certainly was not. 16-9 in favour of Navi, looking much more like the well-oiled CIS machine we know, of course, spending more time trying to get simple, comfortable within that roster. Following that, we did get a full 30 rounds between PENTA and Flipside, and it was the most abysmal of comebacks. We've seen various comeback stories before, just in the past couple of weeks, Kim Kardashian being one of them, and alongside that you can see, of course, 16-7 Flipside over PENTA.
Kim fans be like...
That was a Parks and Rec thing. It was great. But anyway, it's all done and dusted for another day, and we've got so much to look forward to as we do kind of set our sights on what's coming up in North America. Now, I know you're a CS nut, and you're going to have a little bit of a break before you get to go ahead and digest more Counter-Strike, but there is indeed more to look forward to. In fact, look at this one. It's going to be a Brazilian bonanza.
I'm going to watch all of it.
Yeah? Tune in. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic way to see Immortals versus SK. That's going to be the Score Esports Hot Match of the week, and Optic Gaming versus Selfless is going to be going down in a 2-map brawl on Cash and Mirage. That's what's going down in North America. That'll be your next taste of Counter-Strike here at the ESL Pro League, so do be sure to check that out, especially Immortals SK.
That's going to be a good one.
Right?
A real bar boner.
Zeus playing against his old buddies.
Oh,
that's kind of a good tutorial.
Brothers.
Yeah, you either play much better or much worse. There's never a middle ground, I feel, if you're going up against one of those emotional matchups. So I'm intrigued to see. There you go. That's the reason to tune in enough. Just from Yanko. Get to see Zeus going up against his old cronies. Of course, he used to stand behind them, and now he'll stand in front of them doing battle here in the Pro League. That's all from us now, though, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. It was great to see the Vegemite duo, as they've dubbed themselves. We'll be seeing more of them in times to come. But for now, we will wave goodbye and see you next time. Oh, it's awkward. There it is.